Yeah.
Someone that she's.
I never got 9 weeks anyway, free in my whole life. But
I've never been unemployed that long.
I never had either. I was unemployed for a whole while.
A lot of people are these days.
I have one.
Oh, you have it?
Oh, that's cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alright,
Parking regulations out of the.
call the meeting to order.
I told him that we're gonna get one.
The minutes from the previous meeting were sent to the board. Did everybody review them? They don't have any changes or additions to the minutes?
Just a typo, Miami-Dade management realty versus Miami-Dade maintenance realty.
Will we accept the minutes as amended?
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's approved. Do you have delinquency report to review?
No. What much worse? Look, just look at the owner assessments. These were collections, but we had 43,000 in January. We had a lot of collections coming in then because Marbella was actually working. We had $38,000 in February, and we have $23,000 this month, and that's including $7,000 in collections. Okay, so look what we had. We have less people paying. We had 210 people paying before. Now we have like 185 people paying. That's why I wanted to get working and just lien and foreclose every house in the community that aren't paying. These people can't do this anymore. They can't do it to us. What happens is everybody else is paying for these bumps. That maybe they're not bumps. Maybe they're just having somebody to call. But then call the office and make some arrangements and pay something. You know, I mean, 185 homes can't pay for 385 homes. That's impossible. It's not fair to the people that are paying, that haven't gone under, that haven't lost their mortgages. That it's not fair.
The thing is that you have to wait for 3 months.
But there are people that haven't paid for years.
Okay, but
Years.
How much did you bring in last month?
$23,000. And that was including the $7,000 in collections. So now we're down from 210 homes that we're paying constantly to now we're only to 185 homes that are paying constantly. I sent you all emails about this several times.
I haven't seen anything like that.
Honestly,
A couple weeks ago. When I went over all the books again, I sent Barbara many times. I sent our new attorney. There's no reason for this. There's no reason for anybody to owe us $12,000.
Senator, do you know if all of the transfer of documents from Marbella to Maloney has been completed? I know that was in progress.
from the, you mean?
Maloney from Marbella to the new attorney. Marbella is the old attorney. Do you know it or you don't?
I know that the accountant is not completed, the old documentation, but from the lawyer, I really don't know. I believe Barbara told me that it's one group going, you know, a collections group going to Maloney, new ones.
Right. But you don't know if the transfer, because there was a transfer of, there was a transfer, I think it's 6 or 7 boxes of documents. But they're supposed to take it and make copies of all of that, and then take the copies and make copies and then give it to the,
She doesn't know.
she don't know, so that's fine.
That's not-
We have to ask, Barbara, so that's fine.
I would, okay, next topic.
Accounting firm, did we select an accounting firm?
No, I talked to Mike at Goldman and Judith again, and he's gonna call me back tomorrow, because I think there was a great big misunderstanding about what had to be done. The accountant that we're using right now wants a fortune to do our taxes, which is, our taxes are the simplest things you could have to do in the world. Goldman and Judah, who are a big accounting company, charge us $400, and he wants $1,400 to do our taxes. This is ridiculous. Goldman and Judah wrote him a letter that said, they didn't want, I'm sorry, Ernesto, we're on the record, and said that they didn't want to do it because since we had been in bankruptcy, they didn't know how to do that. But the bankruptcy part is we're out of bankruptcy, and they did our taxes last year, that was a little harder because we were in bankruptcy. This should be a breeze,
So we're in contact with him.
He said he'd call me back tomorrow, he was going to talk to his partners now because they said no. But I don't want to spend triple.
Do we need to file an extension?
I filed the extension myself. I called Barbara and told her that, and I sent you an email. I have emailed my TV now. I can watch a television program and email at the same time.
All right, that one I saw here.
I just would like us not to waste money. I realize that we need to spend something, but I don't want it just to throw it away. That's why I was trying to talk to Barbara about the accountant that's working for us now. He still hasn't done our first and second quarter of our payroll taxes. He charged us $500 just to contact the IRS to get the information. And then he wants to go back to the bank, and I don't know how much charges again. This is a bookkeeper's job. A regular bookkeeper, I've been saying this to everybody, a regular bookkeeper can do this. It does take a long time. If you're going to pay an accountant to stay on the phone with the IRS, it takes a long time, so you're going to pay them a fortune of money. But a bookkeeper does this. You can pay her by the hour, $25. I don't know how much a bookkeeper makes now, but whatever you pay a bookkeeper, and they can do this and straighten out this. This is not something complicated. The IRS needs to send the records to whoever's doing the books, which should be All Florida Management Company. They should send the records to them. They should input those records in the computer, and then they'd have their whole year finished.
Did we get the information we needed from the IRS?
I have no idea because I have not spoken to this accountant. I've spoken to Barbara, and as of the last time I spoke to her, which was over 2 weeks ago, by the way, he hadn't gotten it yet.
No, he doesn't have
He doesn't have it.
it.
So there's no reason he doesn't have it. So there really is no reason. We need to, if we're paying him as much money as we pay him to do payroll taxes, we pay him $1,070 to do payroll taxes, which is absolutely absurd. I mean, really absurd.
Yeah, I understand, but I was told that he need also information from the other accountant.
No, he doesn't need information.
That was, he sent a letter.
The attorney sent a letter to have him, the other
And the
accountant.
accountant.
The other accountant's going to send him January and February. No?
I don't think we've seen this letter. This is from,
I've seen it.
This year, okay.
oh, it's in here.
I've seen the letter. It came in my email.
From the CPA, Pedro and
Galinard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I called Barbara immediately and said, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Who's that letter from? Who's that to? That's to
Pedro Galinard.
Right, to Barbara?
To Barbara.
And what does it say?
It says that he needs, the payroll form from the Then we have file form 95. It's documentation that he still needs from the previous accountant.
It looks like just last week, Friday, our attorney had to send something to.
Which is costing us more money. That's what I'm trying to explain. He already charged us now to go to the IRS and to get the records. The IRS sent him records with everything, single thing that was filed. He doesn't have to do all of this. All he has to do is go by what was filed, put that into his computer, and finish, the third and fourth quarter, which only Henry worked for us for. The third and fourth quarter are only Henry. We gave Johan all of Henry's checks, a copy of every single check Henry had, from the time he started. That's the whole third and fourth quarter that need to be filed. They're going back to the first and second quarter because they said it was wrong. But I told Barbara to tell the accountant, forget it was wrong until the government comes and says that it was wrong. Forget about it. Don't tell them about it. You're going to tell the government that you did something wrong? Just forget about it. If we get audited on our first and second quarter, then we have to spend money. What are we spending money now for the first and second quarter? But that's ridiculous. I didn't even think he was working on the first and second quarter. That first $570 I thought was what we were going to pay him to do the third and fourth quarter, which we only have one employee.
And I understand you. I know that each letter costs you money.
Everyone.
But on the first quarter, on the second one, that's what he's saying.
Well, the first and second quarter should have been done a long time ago.
He found discrepancy what was filed, and the checks that you gave to Joanne is a copy, and he said that he can work with copies. That's why he's requesting from the previous accountant original documents.
This is stupidity. This is just stupidity.
That's
you can't have a stupid accountant. And I'm going to be prejudiced right here. And you need to hire a Jewish accountant. You need to. You can't have a Gentile accountant. If everything you need to have somebody that has not only accounting skills, but also common sense. You can't.
That just made me think.
You have to.
Well,
I want a Shapiro and Shapiro company being our accountant.
regardless of
I'd
what,
like to affirm that not all statements are on behalf of the entire board.
That's what mine personally.
that's fun. Well, I mean, we can always change CPA and then we can review it to see the difference. But that's why they have a license at the CPA and you don't. I don't have neither. I'm not saying they're right this time, but it's something that they need to be investigated in the future. And I just can't assume the things that you're saying because you could be real out the bar. So we don't. I can say at this point that we don't know.
Well, you can speak to Maloney. He knows we're not off the ball. Maloney gave me two accounts that are one on Brickell Avenue and one in Aventura. They're very, very expensive accounts. They're not for us. They're not for our kind of association either. They're for the condominiums that are on Brickell Avenue. but Goldman and Judah, see Goldman and Judah, two names that fit.
Well, let's wait to see what they can tell you this week.
Okay, we can move on.
But so what's the plan of action now? We're gonna see what comes out of the letter from the lawyer response?
The letter was sent
On Friday, we had a letter go out.
You have to understand that I've explained this to everybody, to the attorneys and to all these people. It's not going to do any good. It's all our old, what's his name? Julio Acosta is going to send them is January and February. Now, the old management company did March and April, May, and June. They did it. I was in Sarasota. Do you remember the whole conversation with the accountant? So she had a hired accountant because she didn't know how to do it, and the whole thing. But January, February, March, we're done. She did them. Send it to whether she did them right or wrong, who cares? No. And the second quarter, she did. No. She did not send in the records. And I told him to forget about anything from Julio. she has a file, a disk, from the accountant that evidently she didn't include in the disk she gave us. That's what he needs to be forcing her to turn over, that first disk, that from the account, from her account. You don't know that from Christine's account? No, nobody's had it. I've never even seen it.
But you read, I guess you read the same email I read that said they're saying they don't have it.
I read that email, but that he can force them to turn over. That's by law, they have to.
I understand that, but he have to proceed with this first because then,
Okay.
I mean, you are taking a lot of things to assumption.
No, I'm not assuming anything. They're facts. These are facts.
Do you have any facts?
Yes, I gave Maloney all the facts. I respect him. He's an intelligent, you know that. No, I gave him all the facts. I gave him that it's a waste of time to ask him. I gave him the dates and the times and everything when everything was done.
So you're gonna get back with us tomorrow?
What his next step is. It's in his hand.
Yes, tomorrow.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
You want to visit the documentation or? You want to visit them, he's going to call you.
Nigga call.
He's gonna call me, but he doesn't call me, I'll call him, don't worry. I don't sit on my, what you call it?
I was not doing this.
Okay, we're moving on.
Yes.
Venga, espérate que lleguemos.
ACC application reviews.
Sí, pero no podemos.
Yes.
No podemos.
ACC application revisions.
Yeah, new application that we.
I don't want that application. I don't know.
What's the issue with the new application?
I don't
First thing,
want-
we don't want to charge.
I don't want to charge.
Okay,
I don't care about the application. I don't want to charge. I don't want to charge homeowners who want to improve their homes, have to pay us money to file an application. I already told Barbara, if it needs to be notarized, he can tell every single homeowner they can come by my house with their application anytime they want. I'll notarize it. I'm a notary. I don't want to. I want us to charge the people that aren't paying. I don't want us to charge the people that want to do good for the community.
Are you moving that we proceed with the new ACC form, there's no charge?
No charge. That's my motion.
As far as format goes, we can leave that up to the manager to handle it.
Right.
But we don't want to charge. We have a motion. We have a second. Yeah, I don't, in our packet. That's what's.
That's the one that's online.
I thought the fines of beginning something without permission was more than $50. Homeowner is subject to $50 fine if the work commences.
$50 fine per day. Not fine.
Well, it's whatever's in the bylaw. We need to check that. Whatever's in the bylaws. The real, we can, we just need to word it correctly. The real question is, are we going to charge? And we have a motion.
I don't think my motion.
Yeah, we did we vote?
No, we have a motion, we have a second that
After we
there's no
vote.
charge for submitting an ACC form. All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. So as far as the format, and if there's anything on there that doesn't look right, the amount of the fine, we can handle that.
They just check the amount of the fine, that's all. Okay. Communication with Marbella Park, oh, that would be good, I like this
Marbella
conversation.
Park
Let's go.
West. I got a phone call last weekend from the president of Marbella Park West Homeowners Association for 2 items that I said I'd bring to the board. First, he asked why his homeowners were being turned away from our pool.
Sorry.
And he said, I said, well, it's our pool. Well, they paid to be able to use that. They paid that privilege. We had an agreement with you guys. And I said,
Not with that.
I don't have anything, nothing was turned over. If you have something, I'll be happy to look at
Read
it.
it.
Nothing, literally nothing, keys, nothing was turned over to us when we took over in over a year ago. But they paid for a year, and now you're telling them they they can't use the pool.
That's right.
I said, well, if they paid for a year, that year's up, because we've been in for more than a year, they didn't pay us, so that's not an issue. I don't think there should be any, it's too confusing. I think there's issues as far as capacity. Legally, the size of the pool is sized for a certain number of homes. To be able to say we're going to add another 200 and some homes, or however many want to participate, we just don't have even legally the ability to do that, I don't think. But I said I would bring it to the board and see if we were going to stand by that. I move, or I would suggest that we keep it the way we have our pool. We put a lot of money into it.
I think there's, if
For our homeowners,
the
it's
county
maintained.
allows us, we charge their home association $20,000 a year, you know, and they can come and use our pool. No, I think the county allows for the amount of people, if that part's allowed. And then we can recoup the money that we paid to refurbish our pool that they destroyed by coming over here and using it.
Question, how are you going to address any vandalism or damage done to the pool and assessing anyone for those repairs
Well, we
when we
need
have
to
no
have this
control
camera
over
set
the
up.
west? But we have no
Right
control
now-
over
right
the
now we have
west.
security.
Yeah, we
but,
can't-
we
We
have-
can't assess them.
No,
we
you
can't-
don't have to assess them. You call the police, you follow the police report,
Personally,
and
I
they
think
take them to court and sue them.
it's more trouble than it's worth.
It is.
Trying to bring in some
I
money.
think it is.
They're not going to pay as an association. He may have a few homeowners that are willing to pay,
I was being
$100,
facetious. No,
right?
he's-
but,
I know he's not.
and for a couple $100 or even $1,000 a year, it's not worth it to have that confusion.
No.
However, we didn't set up the two associations, it's set up the way it is. I think we should stick with that and
Well, I would like to set the two associations and make them one.
that, there's a lot of people that feel that way. I thought
That
that times two.
neighborhood is so bad when you come in that neighborhood and all those fences are falling down. Let's do this.
Some,
Okay.
some of the changes like that we might like to make, and you mentioned in an email also changes to bylaws that are just a problem for us. Real good ideas, but to change the bylaws, you need at least, what is it, 2/3 of the homeowners.
You know, we
To
can't even
vote.
get
The
volunteers.
majority, you have to have 2/3 of the vote. We're never, I'm not saying we'll never get it. I'm not gonna chase down 2/3 of these homeowners. I've chased down votes in this association, and it's very difficult. Most are just not interested, they just don't care.
You're right.
Very, very difficult to change our bylaws.
But how do we go by the law, no? And make any, we can't do anything. We're like stuck in limbo now. Here's what I suggest, and Paul already said, no, about the violations. We want to change the bylaws
That's my next.
to
It's not-
say that we don't need volunteers from the neighborhood to be on the violations committee.
Before you go to that, we finish.
What was part two?
Oh, did we do part two? Yeah, we did do
No,
part
there's
two.
not. I have that as a write-in item here, the finance committee.
Well, but did we
The
finish?
second
about
thing he wanted to, well, the thing was the pool, and my response.
That's not- And what was the second thing?
The second thing is he would like to revisit the discussion about redoing the gates. He's supposedly done some work, he's got some ideas, he's got some quotes, and Ernesto and I had met with him about a year ago.
Well, I think we should meet with him about redoing the gate, and I think we should also meet with him about him making his people. He has the same bylaws we do, and he needs to try to make his neighborhood, you know, keep in line with the bylaws like we haven't done.
Richard, we have a gate.
That's out of our.
Okay, let's make an appointment and do it, and try to talk about that also.
Specifically, which board
I'll go.
members would like to be involved in that meeting?
I'll go.
Ernesto, if I'm available, I'll go, and we'll see what we can set up that as many
You
of
know,
us
he's
as
a
possible.
really hard-headed man. Okay.
So maybe he's got some good ideas.
Okay.
So we're gonna schedule a meeting with the West Summit.
So we'll go back to the,
Now, fines committee. One of our biggest issues coming in is violations of the bylaws and violations on our homes, landscaping, paint, boats, motor homes, cars parking on grass, dead grass, whatever it is, that's an eyesore and violation of our bylaws. Was not addressed for many years. It still hasn't been really addressed to any real degree in the last year. I'm getting there.
Okay.
In the last year and a half, or the last year and a quarter since we've come on, part of the reason for that is we need to have, in order to send out we can send out all the violation notices we want, but in order to follow through on them with actual fines, and if there's no fines, there's no teeth to the letter. If I send a letter and they know we can't find them, I'm going to say, I'm going to keep my boat, or I'm not going to paint my house, or I'm going to leave a cracked driveway, whatever it is. It costs me too much money, they can't find me. In order to fine, we have to have an established fines committee. Now, about 2 meetings ago, we had 3 volunteers. I think Mr. Tamayo, is it?
Yes.
Mr. Tamayo volunteered, and we had 2 others. And recently, about a week and a half ago, I sent out an email to them. One of them didn't, the email bounced back, and another one said, well, now I can't do it. So I'm hoping we still have Mr. Tamayo.
For now.
For now. It's something that we need homeowners, and it's really kind of a tough job to take on. The board, by law, is it by law or just our bylaws?
Law.
By law, the board members cannot be the fines committee. So we need additional people to step up. And it's just, and the role of the fines committee is to come here, depending on how much we're sending out, maybe once a month, maybe an hour before this meeting, however we want to set it up, and listen to appeals. If we send out a fine, they're good. The homeowner needs to have somebody to come and say, look, my house is painted. We sent it to the wrong house, or my house is fine, or I did this, I fixed it, and we get rid of the fine, whatever it is. They need to have some place to appeal it to. So what I had hoped to ask Barbara, and maybe you know, is there anything, first, ideally I'd like to get more volunteers from other homeowners, but as another option, if nobody else is around, is there anything legally against the spouse of a board member sitting?
Said so. It said so. It was a thing. It said so. It said no family members. But I do have a suggestion. We could make him the sole fines committee. He only has to meet like once every 2 or 3, maybe once a quarter.
Who's myself?
We'll come to just watch, support you, whereas we're not allowed to participate. But here's the whole idea of the fines, and just bring it down to basics. 99% of the fines that we send out, people aren't going to come and contest or do anything about. They just know that they're not going to have to pay, so they're never going to have to pay, right? If we have the fines committee, what you do is you just take this paper, okay, nobody showed up for this set of fines we sent out. All these fines are approved, they go to the management office, and they all get sent the fines, and we collect the money eventually, because they get liens on their houses for the fine. The few people that do come, is all they're going to do is say, look, we fixed it. No? And
No,
then
that's not. You're going to get a lot of people, especially these days, and it's a difficult job. To sit here as a neighbor and have someone say, look, I don't have any money, I can barely pay my mortgage. You can see I'm falling behind on my association payment. I don't have money, I can't paint my house, or I can't fix the driveway, or I can't do this. It's one thing,
Still a violation.
it's still a violation.
It's still a violation.
I keep saying
And it doesn't make it, I'm saying, and believe me, I'm coming from experiences. I issue fines for a living, and much larger than any fines that we're going to be issuing here. that's what you get, and it's difficult. You have to be fair with people. You still have to enforce whatever it is you're enforcing. But
The fairness is just
And
the
it's a-
bylaws.
I'm
This is what I'm trying to say, it's simple. The fairness is only the bylaws. You can't have a person come and say to you in that kind of meeting, I don't have money, I can't pay. Or I don't have money, I can't fix my house. That's not even the question in that kind of meeting. The kind of meeting is, did you fix your problem or you didn't fix your problem? You didn't fix your problem? Go to the violation. Here's the violation, and it goes to the management company, and they're going to lien your house because of the violation. You'll just be more in debt. No?
I agree with you. The only reason I point that out is I don't want to have volunteers coming on thinking it's going to be easy. Oh, you fix it or you didn't fix it. There's more to it, and it
We
is.
know there's more to it. There's only more to it for 2 or 3 people. As you can see in our meeting, we don't get, I was so happy to see all those cars parked out on the street when I came in today, but they weren't here. So we don't have, and even with the fines committee, the majority of the fines are going to be, they didn't show up, fine. There's going to be some that are going to come, and then you're going to have to listen to the story. Yeah, that's true. Listen to the story. Paul's and I have both written a little email to say we'll both quit the board and we'll both go on the fines committee with you. In order to, because we're never going to get our neighborhood cleaned up if nothing ever happens. Nothing, zero. We can't do anything. We're like, okay, we send a letter. It costs us, how much does it cost us? Like $700 to send letters out to every homeowner, and to tell them that they're in violation. And we've done it 2-3 times since we've been here. Nobody's done anything. Actually, a couple people have. Some people have fixed their house. Okay.
Anyone here would like to be on the committee? Fines committee?
How many do we need?
No,
He had-
we only need,
He almost had me convinced until he said it was a difficult job.
well, the bottom line is that when it comes to the fines, unless you have a committee, you can apply the fine. And you here, and those of residents out from here that's not here tonight, are the one that complained that a neighbor or someone in the street. I got a call today about a neighbor that plays, it's like they pick the person. It look like they pick the person, but they have all that stuff up front. And someone lived in the house. So this other neighbor called in reference to that issue. Because I advised them we can go ahead and send them a letter, because at this time we don't know what's happening. But it comes down to that point. If no one volunteers and help, it's not going to happen. And it is important, yes, you know, you have to volunteer. If you don't, that's fine, but don't complain, because that's the problem. We have to have a committee in place.
Just to make it easier on the other people here, see if somebody volunteers, do we have any discretion? Let's say we get the house is not painted. Can we give them an extension, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months?
Oh, sure.
With the extension,
Oh, we
the
definitely want to do that, yeah.
Wait a minute. When we send the first letter, in that first letter, it's the responsibility of the resident to send back a letter to them and to the management and say, okay, I can't do it now, but I would, if you give me 2 months, 3 months, 6 months to do it, I look forward to doing it. When that comes to the management, then they eventually send it to us, and then there's a decision that comes out and say, okay, you can have 6 months. That can come to the fines committee. What comes to the fines committee is that they agree to do it in 6 months with us, and we have them sign something that they agree to do it in 6 months. What happened in 6 months came and gone, and then we come back and say, you are fine now, and then that comes to you, because it don't make no sense that it goes to you, and we have not tried to work something out with the president. We tried, I think what needs to go to finance committee is something that we really can work on. Let's say X person is supposed to remove the boat in 10 days. They say, well, give me 20 days or 30 days. We're not gonna give them, 2 months. Let's say they said 20 days. 20 days came and passed, the boat is still there.
Okay, does the finance committee, do we get the information, the letters that have been sent?
Sure. And then you have the balance. And the balance is in black and white. No boat, no boat. Then you don't have discretion to say, okay, the finance committee don't have discretion to say, we're not going to fine it. We're not going to agree with the fine because you have a boat and the property.
Yeah, but what I'm getting to is I don't want them to come here and say, well, they gave me till this day, but that's next week. It hasn't transpired. Or
No.
they didn't give me a response.
What goes to the fine committee will be after the expiry date passes.
Okay, and we get the
14 days.
information, and we get the information that the people had.
14 days, and then there's that additional 14 days because you have to give them 14 days.
Yeah.
And that if they want to appeal. Okay?
No problem.
Is that correct?
Yeah, let me do a comment here, and this is the way that we do. We have this hunger that we, in this part, you write it down, the violation, and the days, depend the type of the violation. Like you, pretty much what you're saying. And then we keep this because with the violation, the hard part is that you have to keep records and you have to do a follow-up because if not, you lost the first part, So we keep this and we follow up then with the dates because we have this. So after that, if they are not completed, so we send the letter. And that's the letter that is saying everything, and if it's approved by the board, wait more time, and all depend the type of violation. If they have to paint, well, you can give more, but if they need to move a car, it's 24 hours, no more than that.
Okay, one more thing. He mentioned, cracked driveway. My driveway is cracked. I'm not fixing it till my neighbor fixes his problem, because I'm throwing money away. He's got a nice dip in front of his house, and that has made my driveway.
There you go.
And
Here's
this
what
is
I'm
the
trying
only
to
way.
say.
Yeah.
The people that do take care of their homes and want to take care of their homes, are being oppressed by the people who aren't. And yes, I've seen where your driveway is packed, and your driveway is packed because your neighbor has a sinkhole in his front yard that he won't take care of. And you're right, there is no reason for you to put money into your driveway until he fixes his property.
Okay, but in that case,
I think there's more to it. The sinkholes, there are
There's more to it.
Yeah.
And our street is,
Yeah.
everybody's driveway is
It's in-
every driveway and.
Okay. But in this case,
Why?
let's say we send you a letter, crop payment, then you can write back and say, give that very clear reason. When you give that clear reason, we can investigate. Oh, Carlos, I have a point. Then it will never go to the fine committee because we need to address
Your neighbor will go to the finance committee.
Right, yeah, but that's the kind of thing. I feel that the only thing we go to the fine committee is that once everything is exhausted, it then goes to you, but then there's a 14 days that you still have.
We
No,
don't
you're
want-
not
We don't
getting
want to
even.
punish any of our neighbors. We don't. We just want our neighbors to realize that their neighbor is just as important as they are. And when I drive through that neighborhood over there and see every single house that they've tried to keep up, and then 2 houses that are worse than Opalaka.
Excuse me. Every driveway in the community is private.
Not my time.
No?
Nice.
Most,
You're lucky.
most.
No,
And
I
that's-
paid a lot of money to make sure that they put that much concrete when they.
How is your house's position? Like,
You think so?
But,
Is there
But
anything,
fine,
that- no, seriously, is there anything that can be done?
The street is all like
about
that.
that situation?
about
let's sue
this,
somebody or something.
now, the only thing that they told me,
It was a lot.
that's
The
it.
bank started.
That's
It's a big
it.
lawsuit, a lot.
The only thing that they told me that the way to go is putting pavers in your driveway. Because when the rate goes down, you lift the paver up, put sand, you put it right there. But beside,
They were the one who
Plus
told
the
me.
explosion.
There's a lot of.
I know there was, several years ago, there was a class action lawsuit. I don't know if anybody was involved in that.
Yeah, I was $5 grand, which I fixed the thing, and now it's like that.
Blasting, but they're still blasting.
They're
and
still
and they're
blasting.
still sinking.
Yeah,
And-
it's
and-
terrible.
When I was throwing out violations, I was just throwing stuff out. Driveways may not be a big, a big focus because of that. It's just. I
What about the
just
streets?
throwing it
My
out.
driveway was completely cracked and destroyed. Okay? 9 years, when was Andrew?
More than 9 years ago.
Okay, the year before Andrew, I put in a
20
new
years
work.
ago.
21 years
21 years ago.
Oh, man, bless.
Yeah, 1892. A year before, it was like a one.
21 years ago. 9 or 10 years ago, my driveway has not cracked.
okay.
We didn't get a permit.
Okay, but we go back, not to continue this discussion, because the bottom line here, is all we need is a volunteer.
We do need to
I have
buy
a question
But I
though.
can't.
Who does the assessments of the property?
it. Okay, we're
You
gonna
guys?
We're gonna do that
no,
next.
It's gonna be the man,
No,
The management company.
oh, okay.
management company.
And they just go by the bylaws.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not gonna be another thing.
Realmente, pues una pregunta.
No.
Un momento, porque no hemos llegado allá.
Al final,
Sí.
We'll probably be involved. We're gonna have to be
We're gonna be
involved.
involved, but we need to talk about.
And it's
whether
not
the
something we
management
wanna
company
do.
will do it or not.
Well, but we need to discuss that.
Yeah.
Okay, so, the issue with the committee, all we need is someone.
Here, I'll volunteer.
Thank you.
Now we got
We
two.
will get your information, and we're going to check with the third person to see if he's still on, because we know where you live. We can check with
We
that.
don't need three.
Yes, we do.
We can have a king and a queen.
Can't be a.
So, is that it?
Los
You
dictadores.
have, you have.
That's it on that.
That's actually what this gentleman would like to ask, because he needs to leave.
Okay, go ahead.
Pregunta.
Yes, sir.
No, que
Diga.
I speak a little English.
Habla español.
They can translate for us.
Habla español.
Us,
Que yo 21 años aquí
Mhm.
y es primera vez que no llegan los cupones para hacer los pagos. Los cupones de pago
Ajá.
no llegan.
Okay.
Entonces el mes pasado mandé a pagar con pago extra y mandé una nota, porque Dios me habla inglés, que escribe inglés. Le mandaron una nota que nos mandaba el libro por lo que sea como para mandar pago y no ha llegado.
El cupón.
El libro que
El libro cupón, lo que
Pero
lo que
usted-
está mandando ahora.
Pero usted quitó un cupón de la computadora.
Yo mandé 2 pagos en el febrero.
Sí, pero en la computadora hay cupones también. En la computadora. No sé, usted tiene o su esposa tiene acceso
No,
en la
no,
casa hay acceso.
no hay computadora.
Ni sus hijos.
Hay
Tampoco.
una cosa todo el mundo.
Ok, lo único que se tiene que hacer es enviar el pago a la dirección de la compañía. Y si usted quiere la dirección, hasta que le den el cupón. Si usted quiere la dirección, Sandra le va a dar la dirección, una tarjeta para que tenga la dirección donde usted va a mandar el pago. Lo manda con su número. Lo único que ellos necesitan es un cheque.
Sí, yo sé que es un cheque, pero el número de la cuenta, para saber que va, se ha hecho el pago.
¿Perdón?
El número de la cuenta.
No tiene, bueno, por eso, el número la tarjeta que ella le va a dar esta noche, entonces usted llame, consiga, va a hablar con Omar, usted va a conseguir el número de sus cuentas, le va a dar toda la información, le va a dar, y usted lo escribe, y ya, y le pregunta el balance, porque en otras palabras usted no ha recibido su balance tampoco. O si recibió la
Le
balance.
mandaron una carta con el balance de su cuenta.
Que si debe 0 o debe 100 o no debe.
Porque a todo el mundo le mandaron
Sí.
carta.
Sí, no sé yo.
Ok.
¿Cuál es su
Entonces,
nombre?
Juan Rogel, 8249 Norway 200.
He said this in English, and like, he's saying that he has not received the coupon notes yet.
Well, they get lost in the mail because they mail coupons to everybody.
Did she have a list of the people that the books came back to your office?
No,
No,
no.
because maybe.
Probably, yeah,
maybe
that's
it
why
just
I'm
came
gonna
back.
find out tomorrow.
Maybe you have the wrong address.
Yo vengo de su teléfono y yo lo llamo mañana y le doy seguimiento a su cuenta.
Ok.
Okay.
You have part of the room also?
Sí, tengo que
Sandra?
ver si tengo ahí.
Y me perdonan, me tengo que ir.
No.
el teléfono.
Deme su teléfono.
All right, so we're on track for a fines committee. We've got one other person we're gonna talk to, and we'll maybe ask around to get that third person.
Is that true? If you want that, the email just bumps back,
Right.
so we don't know. I can go and check this week. Not that you
I'll have my maid come over and be on, she might be in the neighborhood.
Tengo 82 por el
But on that,
¿Y su nombre de nuevo?
that's the last item we had, but
Rubén. Okay.
as far as
Yo lo
getting
busco mañana.
volunteers,
Yo lo busco mañana.
obviously it's a difficulty.
Eso es todo.
I want to put it out there,
No, no, aquí, pero no entiendo.
we have a decent sized group here, and we have some people that are here every meeting, which is great. We need people that are willing to step up. It's slowed down admittedly for us. It's getting a little easier now that we got through all the bankruptcy and we got through all the management issues and the accounting issues. It's slowed down, but there's no, at least for me, and I think for at least a few other board members, there's no desire to do this endlessly, that next year.
If somebody wants to volunteer to be the treasurer, I'll step down and be on the
We're not stepping down this year.
I'm
I'm trying to point out towards the end of the year. We need to be able to step up and have new people coming onto the board for a number of reasons. First, it's difficult for the people that do it, and after a couple of years, you get tired and you don't want to do it anymore. Plus, new blood brings new ideas. It brings, it has a better appearance to the rest of the homeowners, the ones that don't pay attention. If the board looks basically like this 5 years from now, and they're, it's just the same people doing the same things, and they don't care, and they're taking our money, and they're doing this, they're on there for a reason. The appearance is that we're getting kickbacks, or we do this for the power, and by no means is there any benefit to us any more than there is to the rest of the homeowners. We're just working for the community. So if any of you think you might be interested down the road, at the end of the year, I know at least one of us might be looking to step down for a while. So if you know anybody else that likes to talk about what's going on in the community but maybe doesn't make it to the meetings, recommend they come, recommend they volunteer to sit on the board or on the fines committee or help the communications committee, which Felix and Alice do an incredible job getting the word out. We need participation. There's always 10 times more people willing to complain than there are willing to help. And that's becomes very difficult and very taxing on the ones that are willing to help. So I appreciate you guys being here. I think it's a good group, some faces we haven't seen in a long time. Please keep coming. It's not always the most exciting stuff, but it's good to know what's going on and keep us in check, and consider stepping up maybe at the end of this year when the time comes for a new board. Think about it. We're trying to set it up so it's not nearly as hard as it's been in the recent past. Hopefully, so far our new manager has helped make things a lot easier, and that's how it should be. So think about it. If there's anybody else out there that's interested, tell them to think about it, tell them to contact us. That's my spiel. Do we have any comments from the board?
I do, recently we having some marijuana smokers in the neighborhood. If you see any kids smoking marijuana in front of people when you're walking around the lake, please call, the 311, is it? No. 911.
305 police.
305 police.
Booklets here that the police.
And let me tell you, they're very nice and very responsive. We called them at, 2 o'clock in the morning when we hear that boom, 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 that they won't stop on a Sunday night and you gotta go to work in the morning. They're very nice. They'll knock on your door, which house, thank you very much. They're not annoyed at all.
Did anyone see the police out here, what was it, last Tuesday or? Yeah.
So let's put a
They
stop to
came
this.
out, they all, I walked around with them, they knocked on a few, maybe 100 doors up in the north area. And what they stressed when I was there is call. Don't be afraid to call the police, they want us to call. If we don't call, they can't help. Another thing that I was with one of the sergeants, and every time she walked up to a house, she'd check the car doors, and about half of them, the car doors were still unlocked. And that's our biggest problem.
Some with the keys.
One of them had the keys in the ignition, and she said, look, the first one I walked up to, she said, look, this door's unlocked. And I said, yeah, and the keys are in there. She said, what? I said, yeah, it went ding, ding, ding. She opened it, sure enough, the keys are in the ignition.
But the most important thing that we need to do is we cannot allow drugs in our neighborhood.
No.
We can't, because there's a lot of kids
Oh, no,
walking
no,
around.
no.
There's people with their babies.
Okay, but I don't see that.
We got to control that. So if you see anything, just right away call.
And you can be anonymous.
You
There should be, there's no fear of retaliation. A couple of them said, look, I don't want problems. They don't know who called, and even if you give your name, the
They're not
police aren't
gonna
gonna come and say, well, look, that guy called. They know better.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the police are there to help. There's very little any of us can do. Even if we get a crime watch going, there's only so much you want to do. In the news right now, we're not vigilantes, and we don't want to. Let the police handle it, and hopefully they handle it properly.
But if we get somebody selling drugs in the neighborhood, you see a lot of that, cars coming in and out of the house. Make a phone call, because we need to have this is our neighborhood, we cannot afford to lose it to drug dealers or drug kids,
Gangs or.
gangs smoking pot in our lake where our children walk, or we walk our dogs, and our wives and mothers walk.
It's simple. If they go out there every day and they smoke, spend 20 minutes smoking or doing whatever it is they do, and nobody says anything and they go on their way, they're going to keep doing it. If they do it today and all of a sudden the police cruiser drives by and they panic, tomorrow they might think about it, they go out next week and the police cruiser drives by, the police comes up to them, they're not going to do it here, they'll go somewhere else. And that's we don't want them doing it anywhere near here, but we definitely don't want them doing it
That's what I told them.
in our
Don't do
community,
it.
on our property. So, that's very important. Richard, do you have anything?
My only thing was, when we spoke about this before, we need to send a notice to the people and see how we can go about getting pool cards for the families that don't have pool cards. So people have asked, I don't have a pool card. My granddaughters want to go to the pool. I have to go to the gate and convince the lady with to open the gate to let me in. We should have people that don't have pool cards, especially people that pay their maintenance every month, should be able to have a pool card.
And we got one call today about that. A person who wants to go to the pool and.
Yeah, well, we should make arrangements for this. Make arrangements.
I'm going to talk to Barbara.
Yeah, I don't have a car.
I don't have a card. I have to, every time we come to this meeting, I go to the gate and get the one that they have in there to come in here.
I never
would
had a
think
card.
that
Is that that gray one?
I don't know
I think it
how.
was white. That I saw the list, was it white?
No, it's gray. That's what I had.
I had a car card.
This is what- this is
Right.
what we're gonna get.
Car.
Yeah, I never got it.
You have it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, some people have.
I have the original key, I'll just do it.
I had
So we're sending
these,
them
that
to
was
the
for
west.
the gate when we originally
So what's
had it.
the-
No, but I threw it out.
We're sending them to the west.
I for another gate, then I had a gray one,
We'll
no?
have to come up with a.
So what happens to those poles? They were sending
Have
to the
to
west.
address it. With the guard there.
That's why I'd like to make a motion that we address the
I mean,
problem.
if
First
a person
thing we
comes
need
with
to
their
do
car,
is see
gate guard doesn't have to repair.
where we can get cars and get them programmed, because I know at one time they programmed them here, I have no idea how to do it.
Oh, no, that's easy.
This computer,
Do we have a machine to do
I
it?
have down
No, it's not the problem, they give you the card, all you have to do is put the number.
It's activated.
Activate it. Yeah, you can activate it. Just like you can deactivate, that same one is activated. You just get the cards from, is it what's it? So we just need to get the.
We'll have to talk, 'cause I've never done that, and they know I don't know.
Okay, I finished with pool
Yeah, the
cards then.
instructions were in
And
there.
then-
Before we move on about pool cards, what are we gonna do? I mean, are we gonna order one and give one to every household, or are we gonna have to buy them?
No,
What's
no,
gonna-
we went with the pool cards. I would suggest, first of all, we check to see how fast it can get to us. And if, let's say it take 5 days, we just need to get 100. And then whenever we're close to
I think we get,
winning, we get some more.
provide them upon request, even,
Upon request.
you don't need it to get into the pool, at least the way we're set up now, when you have the guard there, and the guard can let you in anyway, it's
Get to the
convenient.
pool's paying.
They would pay whatever, to cover the cost of the card. I don't think we need to make a profit on pool cards.
Also, the people there are delinquent.
No, I think that's what you do.
And we have the ability to deactivate. And we have the ability
If
to
you owe, you don't have access. That's it.
You're not paying the water, you're not paying the water.
Okay, so we'll order a card, people will request them, we'll charge them whatever the cost is to us.
But, truly, you really need to be careful. I would say, let's see what's the cost of the card. Got the card, it costs $5. There's no sense to the charges. Because you see what happens is this. Those cards will be paid, would bring more money than anything it costs. You give it, for X person from that water company, okay? And the X person owns $1,000. Unless the $1,000 come forward, there's no card. Let's say the person is leasing. We check, okay, the leasing. We see that that person that's leasing might owe $1,000. The house owe $1,000. We actually see to give a lease. Because we need a lease. Once we get the lease, then we address the issue with the $1,000. What I'm saying is, if your account is not current, you don't have access to anything.
Right.
And that's just about enough. And there's no issue because the only thing that by law we need to make sure that the person of access is coming in the community and they can come in through the visitor side, but not to the pool.
No, but we get our community to come to the other side.
Well, that's
stopping
true.
us.
But I won't think that would be an issue. We just need to investigate that. Look into that this week with
So management company have to look for the company.
No, the
The house.
company right now
Or you
makes
have
this, yeah. The
Oh,
name
okay.
Pro
Technical.
yeah. Pro
Okay.
Technical. That's a vendor. They are the one that put in this system. Matter of fact, they're the one that, because the system was broke, they came, they sent out the technician, they got that taken care of. And then, he told me they can get cards, so the cards.
And how many, with how many cars do you want to start?
100.
100.
Just one.
Okay.
Yeah, but we need to know the cost.
Exactly.
Okay?
But they usually ask how many you want to give you a
Yeah.
price. Yeah.
Ask them what their tiers are, your pricing, I mean, to make it a discount.
Okay,
So ask them what
more?
their tiers are.
Okay.
Okay. Let's move on.
Okay, I'm finished.
Okay.
Comments? I'm good, I've spoken enough. Homeowners will start.
How many homes are in foreclosure, and are any of them being rented by the association? Only one?
We have one that's being rented.
We have one that been rented.
I can
So
talk about that.
And how many homes total are in foreclosure in the community?
I don't think we have that information yet. That's still in progress with the new attorney. Once we have that information, all the information will be able to answer those questions.
Like, we do have 3 homes we could go and rent right now, if we can go and get in there. Barbara said,
Yeah, but there's 3 more houses that we could rent, but I remember that I spoke with Nick, and Nick said his information was passed to the attorney just to make sure that we legally can go in there and do what we do. There's a lot that we can do, but we just want to make, to access because it's locked.
Oh,
So, once we get through that, then we can address that quickly and rent those also.
So that one rental house,
$1,200.
how much?
$1,200.
Well, that one house covers the maintenance for almost 12 homes that don't pay. No more or less.
no, they're trying to get their back paid. Once they stop paying, that money will go to whoever forecloses on the house. You know? They get credited, their account gets credited every month for $1,200. So when their account is caught up, they'll have a credit, you know? And what we do with that, we don't know.
That's how-
No.
I'm not sure that's how it is. I
No,
think-
the way it works is that anything, let's say, when the account is paid, we just keep collecting. That's the
Until
system.
the bank takes
When the
over,
bank take over,
they collect the rent.
then they have to write a new contract. But that money is not turned over to the bank.
right, they collect the rent, but they have to pay the association fee.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
either way, we'll still be making.
Yeah,
at
we'll
least
still making.
The bank only has to pay for 1 year.
No, but,
No, I'm saying if they take it over moving forward, they
They have to
will
pay.
continue to pay.
They do.
and I think there's only one more month that will, the 2 more months, I think, with that particular, and that's supposed to be at 0, not only with the expense, but also with the association fee, which means anything after
Smart.
is great.
Right, that's awesome.
Did anybody address the problem about these banks that want to come in here to inspect the houses that they foreclosed on? They can't get in the neighborhood.
I noticed an email today.
Because I wrote back to one guy, just come in on, no, 87.
We're working on that.
Wait.
Alex, what was it?
We just have an, ACC form.
Okay, you can address that after.
That house that you're renting, rent 1,200. How big is the house?
Oh,
It's a 2-story, one is 2 stories.
Should we be charging a little bit more?
yes, we should, but no, the whole idea is just to get somebody in and do it.
Yeah, but,
Yeah,
Where are you getting in?
I agree. We
yeah.
spoke about this.
Yeah, it was charged 15, but it didn't work again, God knows as well. But all the homes, we just want to make sure we have someone, and so we're getting something back. But yes, there's a limit that we're not going to go down too low on certain things. But we just trying to get some money out of, because these houses are just sitting. And these, no, this one, that one, and this one is beside me. This one been sitting approximately about 3 years, sitting. So if well, this law about doing the rental thing just begun the 1st of July, that was approved by the state. You didn't have to.
yeah, no, I'm aware of it.
So at least, if we, I know we had a lot of things on our minds when we brought that bankrupt thing, but if we would have gotten the ball and got that in probably in August, we would have had some more money.
I brought this up, especially with the lake. I remember, but you have to remember one thing. And this is why we all agreed on this rent. They only can have a month-to-month lease because the bank can take over at any time.
So,
So you're not gonna get a nice mother and father with 4 kids, you know, that are coming to rent a 5-bedroom house, you know, for $2,500 a month, that they both, one works in a construction company, the other works in the bank or whatever, you know, and you're not gonna get that. What we need is somebody to just come in and make us whole on what that house owes, because once the bank takes over, the bank's not gonna make us whole. The bank's only gonna say, we're gonna give you 1 year's worth of maintenance that the people owe. So at least we figured, this bank's been sitting on their rear end for so long, maybe we can get 6 months, 8 months worth of rent out of this, to clear up their account. We'll have a little extra money left over, and they only have a month-to-month lease. That's the whole thing is, we can come out at any
That
time,
month, right.
and so could the bank. We're not
house
gonna.
as is, too.
Right. That was the whole idea.
Gives us the
Not to
option.
give them free rent, because we talked about more rent. We talked about what is his mortgage cost, what is my mortgage cost, knowing what we have to pay a month, and that they're not. But have you seen the foreclosures in our neighborhood, what our houses are selling for?
It's about, mine is about 200.
Our houses in our neighborhood are selling for $150,000 right now.
The foreclosure.
The foreclosure.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
The foreclosures are selling. So if you could buy a foreclosure, even if you have to put $30,000, $40,000 into it to fix it up because the people destroyed it, there's a house over in the back, it's a huge, huge lot, huge, big, it's completely destroyed, nothing left in that house, no air conditioning units, no appliances, no nothing, completely destroyed. It was a drug house, the police went in, there's dirt all over the floor from the pot plants. It's been there for a long time. You could take that house and put $25,000 into it and have a great house. Okay, I'm finished.
We'll be here all
If
night.
you have any comments, nothing? No comments? Nothing? Felix? That's it?
We turned the fines committee up and we're adjourned.
Meeting adjourned. Make sure we get her
Is there a
contact
second?
information and we
I
address.
second.
Oh, you said that? Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.